The 2001 movie, The Night Marchers, returns to Hawaii theaters this weekend.
That's right, and KITV4's Maleka McDonald met with the filmmakers of the 2001 movie.
20 years later, a new legend begins. Brandon and I, along with the crew and cast, set out on a journey across the state of Hawaii to promote the most revered legend in Hawaiian folklore, known as the Night Marchers.
Well, growing up in Hawaii, you were likely to hear stories of supernatural Hawaiian warriors. Those disembodied guardians that marched from the mountains with trails of flickering flames. Distant drums and conch shells warning anyone in their path to run away.
Something doesn't feel right.
Or cower in fear. The folklore told many times.
I disrespected the Aina.
But 2 decades ago, a pair of local filmmakers decided to bring that legend to life.
Our first stop, Oahu, to speak with David Lawrence from Hawaii Public Radio.
You're welcome. My guest from NASA. Look at these guys right here.
In just 2 days, the film will premiere in Regal cinemas throughout the island chain.
Maybe you saw that and were scared by this film back in 2001. It's been rebooted and it's in theaters now across the state. And we thought this would be a cool Halloween-themed feature to have to welcome these cats back in.
The access is blocked off due to landslides, but we're able to hike in and film in these locations that really have never been seen on the big screen, and we're excited to bring that to the people.
So that's also going to be part of it, is you kind of get a little private tour of some land. And
David and the professional team at Hawaii Public Radio will broadcast the interview across the entire state on Halloween Day. The timing for this really couldn't get any better.
The original Night Marchers movie sold out in theaters statewide in 2001. Never before had a local film been so unexpectedly successful. And Big Island filmmakers Blake and Brent Cousins followed the film's success with sequels. But now they're back to reboot the legend for a modern audience.
Next stop, we meet up with Hawaiian news anchor Maleka McDonald of KITV News at Waikiki Beach.
For the first time, and then us trying to figure out what it was, and I have no idea.
Maleka's interview aired throughout the state on KITV News during prime time.
20 years ago, we made this film, and a lot of people were pretty young watching it. Like, they're around 13 years old now. They're basically adults with children themselves, and they're, I think, going to bring back their memories and bring their children to come and watch The Night Marchers.
The film is set 20 years after the original, when a reality film crew heads to Hawaii to hunt for proof of the Night Marchers' existence. And needless to say, they find it.
Media promotional coverage has begun, and now we set out to the newspaper publications from Kauai, Oahu, Maui, and the Big Island. The story was picked up and headlined statewide on multiple newspapers and magazines. We also included in our budget radio advertising across the airwaves covering the island chain from one end to the other.
It's been 20 years. The legend is alive. These unsuspecting travelers are about to learn about the Night Marchers.
Have you ever heard of the Night Marchers?
I've heard of them.
You know where to find them?
I know exactly where to find them.
Beginning Friday, the Night Marchers, Hawaii's most revered tale, is now on the big screen. What's that noise? The Night Marchers.
Now our next stop is to check up on all the Regal cinemas throughout the state to make sure everything's running fine. Our film, The Night Marchers, is competing with major Hollywood films. The manager assured us that the word of mouth was getting out and people were calling in, asking about The Night Marchers. The next theater, Regal Cinemas 18, Dole Cannery Theaters in Waikiki. We noticed right away the Night Marcher poster was prominent in the front courtyard. As we were there, the manager notified us that the digital DCP file was ingested into the system. The Makalapua Theaters in Kona had everything all set up.
We watched the audience and we're looking for the actions, and there's one moment in the movie that just people jumped up and it took them for about 2 minutes to settle down. It was pretty crazy, so we wanted to emulate some of these scare factors.
Not all the scares were scripted though. The brothers and an actor in the film talked about unexplained phenomena during filming. Some of that actually made the final cut.
There's a scene in the movie that you'll have to see it, but there's some apparitions that were captured. And when we showed it to some of the cast members afterwards without any heads up, they were like, oh my God, what are we looking at? And the chicken skin was pretty high on that one.
The media blitz was now over, and we head back to the Big Island of Hawaii, to our hometown in Honoka'a, and we check out the Honoka'a People's Theater for our own screening with our friends and cast members and family. We chose Honoka'a due to the fact that we filmed the entire movie on the Hamakua coast. It was 20 years ago when we brought the state of Hawaii, the Night Marchers, and now 20 years later, the dream begins again. And to premiere the movie during the Halloween season and leading up to Halloween, The Night Marchers is the movie to watch. It was the first time to see our digital DCP in action through the digital projection systems. The digital era is real, and we were able to pull it off.
What do you guys think of the movie?
Awesome.
Thumbs up?
It was so good, and it scared me just enough, and then it made me laugh. And it was such a shocker. It was intense. I forgot what real life was. I got so drawn in that I was like, wait, no, it's not real. No, okay, hi, I'm in the theater. I'm not screaming. It was awesome.
Night Marchers! Basically, our actors on scene were freaking out, and that actually added to the film. What you see on their faces, this is almost, there is no acting. Yeah. They're really playing themselves.
That right there was when I was like, maybe this is a real thing. Maybe we shouldn't be doing this.
And the reboot marches into theaters statewide this weekend.
We need these shots.
Just in time for Halloween. Melissa McDonald, KITV4, Island News.
Man, he's talking about chicken skin. I think my hairs are standing up right now.
I wouldn't want to be the actor having to do that movie.
Me neither. But now I've got some weekend plans.
As long as they're...
Check it out. I think that during shooting the movie, we went through some pretty sketchy spots I didn't even want to go in. I was very uncomfortable being in those caves, being from LA. I liked doing it, don't get me wrong. It was awesome. But it definitely put me in an uncomfortable place, temporarily at least.
My home is the Hamakua coast here on Big Island. And I've spent time in Waipio, and I've definitely seen some crazy dark figures out there at night. And they definitely spooked me more than once. So being on this film was a little bit spooky on its own. And I thought about it a few times. I've definitely thought about it a few nights, but I mean, I made it out of the film all right, so I figure, you know.
Are you looking forward to seeing the film tonight?
Oh, I'm stoked on it. I haven't seen it yet, so this will be a great opportunity. We're at Honoka'a People's Theater. I've never been here before, and this is my first time on the screen, so hell yeah.
So the process over the whole year of filming this, what did you think of the beginning of the concept and where it is actually now?
It's made a huge transition from the basic concept that we had in the beginning to what we have today. There's probably like so many different cuts, and each one has its own like best iteration, and this is the best by far. I think it's great.
What's it like working with the Cousins brothers?
It was fun, man. I like the guerrilla style shooting that we did. It was a very, what do you call it, shoestring budget type of crew deal. Very few people. No one was really raining down on us saying what not to do and what to do. So the way that it was shot was great. I like the independent style.
Just after 3 days, locally directed and produced film takes a top box office position over the weekend. The Night Marchers, a new legend begins. Locally independent filmmakers here in Hawaii do have a chance to compete against the big Hollywood blockbusters. Happy Halloween, everybody. The Night Marchers will return.